And I knew that there was this whole creative side of me that hadn't been like tapped yet.
If you're not embarrassed by your family and friends watching your movie, you've done something right.
Because it's so personal.
It is incredible how a bad work experience, especially throughout your 20s, many of them,
Yeah.
make you write contracts.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, Lauren.
Hi.
We have Lauren Bernard Himes.
Yes.
Here.
Actually, I didn't take Bernard as my middle name. Sorry, Mom and Dad.
What is your middle name?
It's Ashley.
Ashley.
Yeah. See, we're not that close.
What? We're actually, Lauren's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
And we got really close in the past, 2 years, basically.
Mm-hmm. And Skye was a videographer for our wedding.
That's right.
So that's kind of where it started, which I'm glad that we weren't as close then as we are now, because then I feel like I wouldn't have wanted you to work the wedding, and you did such a good job.
Thank you.
But it kind of brought us together more, so.
Well, and it was kind of a trade, like an old school
An old
trade.
school spit and handshake sort of trade.
Yeah. Luke built me this beautiful deck, and in return, I shot the wedding.
Yeah, and we both thought that we got the best side of the deal. So that's as ideal as it could go.
Which is the sign of a great deal, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Everybody won.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that deck.
Uh-huh.
I'm out there all the time.
So am I these days.
Yeah. I mean, no, really, it transformed the space because it was just this little concrete slab, basically.
Well, it's just, and it was kind of just like an empty square back there, but
yeah.
Skye's hosted parties since then.
I know.
And he has a fire pit now. We got you right.
I'm still recovering from my big birthday party.
So am I.
I keep finding little Jolly Ranchers and stuff, from the piñata, there's stuff.
You also had a dartboard, not a dartboard, an archery setup.
I know. Yeah.
Dartboard is
I still
really
find a loose arrow, here and there.
That was really fun.
Well, that was crazy because it was, I was planning this big party. I invited basically everyone I knew in Austin, and then the forecast, and I had a plan archery, little golf thing, fire pit,
outdoor backyard birthday.
Yeah, grilling, and then I get the forecast torrential rainstorms, thunderstorms, lightning.
Yeah,
and I was like,
we're still having it.
The show must go on, and so we built this canopy city outside. And
it still ended up being a blast.
And it did pour.
And it, absolutely poured on.
But it worked, and it was awesome.
And the deck was helpful.
And the deck was super helpful.
Yeah.
So, without the deck, it would have been a lot more mud.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this is my first podcast ever. You got me early on in my career.
Yeah. People are going to look back and be like, whoa, this is
I hope I get to do more podcasts, both with you and with other people.
Yeah. You will.
I'm glad that this is kind of a low stakes setting.
Yeah.
Because, it's just me talking to my friends, not some big professional podcast where I'm
No, for sure.
But I'm still.
This is easy. The thing is, I'm even nervous each time before the podcast because I'm thinking of
anticipation.
Right. And then after 10 minutes, it gets super, it's easy. It gets easier and easier. And then it's oh my God, we have to stop because we're having too much fun.
Yeah. Hours go by. You're
it's happened.
It's all our listeners are gone.
I know. Our listeners, that's you.
One listener. I know you're out there.
Thank you. Hit like and subscribe and share it to 5 friends.
See, this is exactly what I struggle with too in my business is doing anything social media or just media related because it's not my forte and it feels like a second job.
100%, more than a second job.
Yeah.
And also as creators, I feel artists are being asked to, okay, now you also have to be an influencer, and now you also have to be marketing, and now you also have to be, and they have to do the algorithm, and you have to post these times a day, and and a lot of it, some of it's fun, this is fun. And this is honestly
And you structured this to be fun though. So you're the creator of this podcast. You can kind of do whatever you want with it. But I'm sure if you had some sort of expert come in and say, this is what you need to be doing to get more likes, views, whatever, this is your perfect content, it would feel a lot more I don't know, artificial in some ways.
For sure.
Because there are ways to like hit the algorithm, like you said.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I feel like this is cool because like I have the energy to like at least do this for a period of time. Like I enjoyed doing this part.
Till episode 20.
Yeah, they say it. Episode 20, that's when most people drop off
Well,
their
now
pod.
it's on camera, so we'll see.
I know.
Now
All
we'll have evidence.
Famous last pod.
If you guys don't see episode 21, you'll know that Skye succumbed to
The
pressures
curse.
of podcasting, the curse of the podcast.
I know. Well, it is, it is work. And
Yeah.
like when Gabor and I started it, we filmed like 5 episodes in 1 week. So then we had we had 5 weeks.
Was that because you were so excited at the beginning about it?
Well,
or do you feel like, all right, we need to like get this out there?
Well, both. It was like, this is fun. This is easy. Like, as long as we're not futzing around with the like, just simple. Don't be too precious about where we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, just get the good sound, and then it was fun. And then we were like, oh well, let's just do as many as we can this week, and get them ready because it's good to have a library of them. So
yeah,
and we ran out. We shot like 6, I think, and then we ran out. And then I'm like trying to get more now. So
it's just hard. I think when there's also like there's so many people out there starting podcasts, or there's so many people like with certain types of content that like how do you stand apart from those people? And I think that's where my hurdles are as well.
Right.
Because like one, I know you can't tell, but I'm not a natural in front of the camera. And
neither am I, honestly.
I just know if I were to make like TikTok videos or something like that,
Yeah.
like it would help my business in some way.
Right.
If I was able to like, curate them or
Yeah.
like, edit them in a good way or whatever, it would help my business. I just like
Yeah.
can't do it.
Yeah. And that's okay. I think we have to be generous to ourselves because like, this is the world tells us, okay, if you post 3 times a day on all these different platforms, I mean, it's so many platforms too. It's you got to hit this and you got to hit that. And
thank God Facebook's pretty much dead though.
yeah. Oh my God.
Every time I'm on Facebook, it's like bots with like AI pictures. And it's always like an AI picture of like a little kid, like a poor little sad kid who just built like an amazing sandcastle. And
is it AI?
Yeah,
okay,
it's an AI image. There's like a crazy like no child would ever build this sandcastle.
Oh my God.
Sort of thing. Like it's clearly AI. And
Right.
like I'm just a poor little child in Africa who built this sandcastle and nobody likes it and
please
whatever.
sponsor me.
That's like and it's like I'm so sad. Please like and share this image. That's like all Facebook is.
That's crazy how I mean, I am not engaged with friends or anyone I know on Facebook. I have a ghost account just to manage my Sam Wolf account and my Gadfly and some stuff.
Those things.
And Facebook Marketplace.
Obviously.
Yeah.
That's a good one still.
But I literally don't have I'm not really in the ecosystem anymore, but it's crazy how it was when I was in high school.
Yeah.
It had just been opened up to high school kids. So basically it started only in college. So it started only Harvard, and then it was then the other colleges.
Yeah.
And then it was a big deal. They opened it up to high schools. And so we were allowed on there.
That must have been like interesting for you guys because you're a bit older than me.
I'm 36.
Yeah. And I'm 31, so you're about 5 years older than me.
It's a sea of difference.
Oh my God. Well, especially when it comes to technology, because I still feel like, I'm a millennial. I feel like I was still like on the cusp of like technology when I was young, and I got like an eMac when I was in 3rd grade, and it was
the white ones.
It was the big white like ice cube looking ones.
Those were cool.
Like that was crazy. So like you must have an interesting perspective too, because you lived longer than I did with like dial-up and all that shit. So.
Oh my gosh, I remember dial-up. I remember my dad had this like for work. He had this like it was from the company called Compaq. COMPAQ.
Yeah.
And he had this like handheld. It was like sort of like a Palm Pilot, but it was like the iPac. It was called iPac.
Was it called iPac?
I think so.
Compaq. I'm familiar with Compaq. You're like kind of like awakening some part of my brain, some nostalgic part of my brain where I'm like, I know that name.
Yeah, and I remember it was like super, super early version of like an iPhone or something. But like, I remember Dad had to get this like card that plugged into it that had a cord for the dial up, and I was like literally like sitting next to the wall with this freaking thing to like experiment with the internet.
Yeah.
Like early stuff, early mobile internet.
What was your early? Well,
Not really mobile because you had to be on by the wall.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, but I don't know if it'll yield appropriate answers.
Sure. What was I looking up?
I said, what was your early? I was thinking, what is your early internet usage like?
Oh man,
I mean,
it was pretty dull.
really.
Well, no, oh no, actually it wasn't
First
dull.
got on the internet. So,
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I was younger than you were.
Right.
When internet first.
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay. So my internet usage was very much like Neopets.
Okay.
And like Club Penguin. Eventually, Chat Roulette, but that
was a big
wasn't
one.
supposed to happen.
Yeah. So my early internet. Okay. Well, on the little iPack thing, that's what I meant was really boring because I was just like, I got onto a website. It took like hours.
Yeah,
You know.
it's like the oldest website.
Right. But I remember. So like fourth grade, fifth grade, like internet came to the school, and the kids were like way ahead of the teachers. The teachers had no idea what was going on. Yeah. We found Ask Jeeves and like,
oh my God, I love Ask Jeeves.
Yeah. And I remember there was like a scandal, like the first internet scandal at my school, which I'm sure today it's so much worse. But back then it was all new to the teachers. We were looking at pickup lines.
That was the scandal.
We were asking Jeeves for pickup lines, and a couple dozen kids were involved in this like scandal.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, this is
that
fifth
would
grade.
Be scandal.
It was fifth grade.
Scandal level.
Yeah, and I remember people were printing them out, and like some of them were like
peddling them.
Yeah, yeah. Some of them were like more risque than others, but it was all like
still kid level, probably.
No, it was beyond kid level, but it wasn't like gratuitous. I think some of it was just like. That's kind of kids shouldn't be reading that. Yeah. So the teachers found it, and it was a huge deal. And there was investigation and like which kids were involved, and like someone ratted everybody out basically. So we all got pulled into this conference room, and the principal, Mr. Bill Maine, smelled like cigarettes. And like a couple of our teachers, I know, I think he died, but. Sorry. Yeah, you feel like shit now.
So sorry for laughing.
I know.
It's a nervous response.
Although maybe he's not dead, and I'm the asshole.
Didn't you say one of your teachers watches this? Was it?
Oh yeah, Therese Glassmeyer. Hey, Miss Glassmeyer, how you doing?
Was she from the same school? Does she know who?
Oh, she is. Yeah. Well, she was so that was the lower school. Principal, Mr. Maine.
Okay, so
she was in the high school
separately and let us know if he in fact died or not.
Okay, so he was a good man, regardless.
Anyway,
is.
We'll fix this in editing.
Yeah, no, there's no editing on this. It's uncensored.
This is one take.
Yeah, we give you the blemishes and everything.
Skye didn't really give me a lot of info before this podcast.
Well, that's what people are like. So, what's the podcast about? And I'm like, just come, like.
Yeah, just laughing with my friends.
No, we are going to get into your stuff though, because I'm really interested in that. So,
well, actually, it ties in. Not to stop talking about
pickup lines in fifth grade.
Yeah, you know, I could go on about that forever, but it kind of ties into like back when the internet like first started. When I first got that eMac back in the day, and I was in third grade. So I'm an interior designer. That's what I do right now.
Yeah.
But I wasn't always an interior designer.
And this company's called Low
and Behold Interiors.
Right.
And that's kind of funny too. I can get into that in a bit, like why I named it that. But
the link will be right below.
Ooh, link in bio.
Yeah.
Link underneath.
Link underneath. Link here. Link here. Link here. Link here.
I thought you said you weren't doing any editing.
No, I'm not. Just kidding. Just there.
That's my logo. Right there.
Right.
Oh man, that's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see what you do with this. Anyway, I wasn't always an interior designer. I actually like went to school for social work, and so I got a master's degree in social work. And honestly, I think part of that is because I grew up with an architect for a dad who really wanted me to kind of follow in his footsteps because I'm the oldest, and I was very much like, I don't do what you tell me. Like, I don't want to do anything related to you.
Right. I'm a rebel.
Yeah, I felt very rebellious. So I was like, I don't even want to go into a similar field as you, Dad.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna forge my own path.
Right.
Which I did. But I think that my dad also knew that I had like a knack for this sort of thing. I had like the creative mind for it. I didn't have the math required to be an architect. I'm really glad still that I'm not an architect, but interior design, it makes sense for me in a lot of ways because when I first started using the computer, I got very obsessed with playing The Sims. Do you remember that?
Of course I remember The Sims.
The Sims was like
That was hilarious.
shit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was on the
I'm
Sims
sure.
all the
Oh,
time.
that's a perfect breeding ground for like new
Yeah.
interior
My
designers.
favorite part of playing The Sims was not playing it. It was creating the family
Yeah.
or creating the house.
Mhm.
Specifically creating the house. I was using like every cheat code in the book to have infinite money so I could create like my dream home every single
Very
time.
cool.
And then once I finished, and this would take hours, days sometimes, but like once I finished, I'd be like, okay, the house is done. Finally ready to play Sims. Then I'd be like, well, this is boring. I guess I'm just gonna let them like drown in a pool or something. But all I wanted to do was build the houses. So I don't know.
That's hilarious.
It took me until adulthood to accept that I did want to like actually design spaces and houses.
That's so
and stuff
cool.
like that. But it does make sense.
But that's a great example of like how some of these video games actually can
Yeah,
potentially inspire careers,
foster creativity.
foster creativity for sure.
Yeah, there's lots
Sandbox.
of them out there. Even nowadays, like a lot of people still think video games are just like the aggressive, violent video games that little boys play. But there's so many different creative.
You mean what
video games.
me and Zane and Jordan and Travis play?
Well, what do you play?
Helldivers too. For democracy.
I don't know anything about that video game.
Yeah, it's
but-
super violent.
Okay, good. And look at him. He's not violent.
Not violent?
In his body.
No, my brain just turned to mush.
Sam Wolf. It's pretty creepy.
I know. It's pretty intense.
We got some dark Lord of the Flies vibes in there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, I was always playing like Sims, Neopets, games like that where you could like customize a character or customize your house
Yeah.
some way. Like, so that was always exciting for me. But I didn't become an interior designer until a couple years ago, honestly.
Mhm.
Like, I wish I could say during COVID because my time would have been really well spent.
Really well spent during COVID.
If I had started this business during COVID, I
Right.
started it like right after COVID.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's okay though. But maybe it took COVID to get to that point.
yeah, a lot of sitting around unemployed thinking, what do I want to do with my life?
Yeah, I wonder if The Sims is still available.
Yeah, I really want to play Sims right now. What if I just like pretend that I'm playing Sims in real life for money?
Yeah.
That's what I do now.
And you've been doing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been doing that full time for the last 4 years or so.
Mhm.
Going on 5 years now. So
Cool.
and it's been successful.
Yeah.
So I guess I was meant to do it. Or
No.
at least I feel that way. I feel very fulfilled
Yeah.
doing something creative rather than what I had been doing, which was social work is fulfilling in its own way, but is very, very hard industry to be in for many reasons. And you have to be a very special type of person to be a social worker. And I didn't feel like it was allowing
Oh.
me to be my best self, honestly.
That's a very like it can be a traumatic job. It requires like it almost sometimes I feel like it like those jobs like good caretaking nurse job like
yeah.
they require a level of like you have to like really love that
Yeah.
or else you won't be able to survive in it.
Exactly. And I think everybody who's in all of those industries is an amazing person. They really have to be like so strong mentally to handle some of the things that you have to do or see on a daily basis. And the reason I went into social work is because I love people. I've always been fascinated by psychology. That's what my degree is in. And getting a master's in social work allowed me to work directly one-on-one with people. So I used to do therapy with people when I was in Chicago.
Okay. Like what kind of therapy?
Like psychotherapy
Okay.
type stuff. So I worked in
Right.
a clinical setting, which is what I wanted, or at least what I thought I wanted. The population I was working with, it was really rough because a lot of these people were like underserved community, Medicare, Medicaid, and had been through the craziest stuff that I had ever heard in my life. And I'm coming from a very privileged position, like I'm some girl who grew up more privileged, who moved to Chicago for grad school, and now I'm being asked to help these people who I can try to have empathy for, but honestly, like, I feel like I was doing them a disservice just by being, like, so removed from the situation. So
Mm.
it just caused me to question a lot of things about whether someone like me belonged in that industry or not. And honestly, I think I did help a lot of people. I don't think it was like all a wash. But it began impacting my mental health. And so when I moved to Austin with my now husband in 2016, no, 2019, yeah.
You moved here in 2019.
2019, yeah. We just kind of like found a place to settle down. I was like, I'm going to take a break from doing psychotherapy type stuff because I want to figure out exactly what I want to do. And I knew that there was this whole creative side of me that hadn't been like tapped yet.
Mm.
And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do to kind of like fulfill that creative side. And then it just kind of like popped into my head one day because Luke had started like handyman stuff. He started a construction business when we moved to Austin. And
That's sort of how I met.
yeah, that's how you met Luke, through his construction business, which is he's been doing that for
taking
5 or
off.
6 years
Yeah.
now. He's very successful in like the contractor remodeling space, but he was kind of the first one to suggest that I get input on people's design choices in their house because he started having clients who wanted to remodel their kitchen and they had no idea what they wanted to do. They just wanted to make it look better. And he was like, well, I'm not good at that, but you should
Right.
talk to my girlfriend. She's really good at that. Like she likes that sort of thing.
Perfect.
And so I started going to people's houses and with my little iPad, like, and what color should we paint your cabinets? Like
Real life
think
Sims.
this. Yeah. And at that point, it was more like I'm role playing. Like, of course, there's a lot of like studying and like there's a lot of things you need to know to actually be an interior designer. And I'm coming from a position of somebody who didn't go to school for that. So at the very beginning, it was a lot of just me using like my intuition in situations and not trying to mess things up for people. But like, okay, I'm going to choose a paint color for these people for their cabinets and I'm going to choose hardware for them and a backsplash. I'm going to try and get samples of these things and look at them. And if I think it looks good, like I trust my own.
Well, that's
eye
the
for
artistic aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like adding. It's not like like
yeah.
like subtraction
it's not like
or
something that's
yeah.
more objective.
Right.
Like it's more subjective.
It's got taste and
Yeah, there's a lot of taste that's involved, and I don't think my taste is everybody's taste.
Sure.
But at the same time, like I was getting a lot of compliments, a lot of people were ending up happy, and that's when I began to think like maybe I can make a career out of this, and I kind of started like advertising myself for that service.
Cool.
And then I started teaching myself like all sorts of software.
That's
I was really like reading as much as I could about interior design and talking to my dad a lot about like codes and contracts and all of that good stuff. So made the business more legit than just
That's cool.
a girl with her iPad playing Sims.
So combining that like natural intuition, taste, and then learning things. I mean, I think it's a good example of like how we have internet, we have everything at our fingertips. Like you can be self-taught. Like you don't have to go to some expensive school.
Yeah.
For 4 years anymore. Like YouTube, I'm learning things on YouTube all the time.
You can be self-taught, but
it takes a little discipline.
In this industry and a lot of industries, that's a very like divisive topic. Which I totally understand because a lot of people go through these very rigorous programs and they receive licensing, especially for becoming a licensed interior designer, which I'm not. My business is still legitimate, but I don't have licensing through like a larger sort of program. But I think there's advantages and disadvantages, pros and cons, like anything, because the way that I've structured my business is truly how I wanted to structure it. The way that I design stuff is how I feel like I should design stuff. And it's not coming from me going through the same program that everyone goes through and being taught this is how you do it. Like I truly had to find my own way. So it's unique in that way. But I also feel like there's probably things that like would benefit me had I gone to an official program. I've done a lot of research on my own though. So
yeah,
kind of like fill that gap and make sure that I'm not just coming in as somebody who like doesn't know what they're talking about, you know?
For sure. I think there's in any industry, like There's the film school kids. There's the kids who were their own film school, for example.
Yeah.
And
Which one were you?
Well, I mean, kind of in the middle, because I went to a liberal arts school and they had a cinema program. So my cinema teacher, Dave, is off because I'm like, why aren't you tougher on these kids? Like you should be like tearing our scripts apart. Like
like you want it to be more theater.
I'm like the student films suck here, and Dave would be like, we're not a film school, we're a liberal arts school. This is the cinema program. Like,
so is it more like good job, buddy?
I mean, no, they did a good. They were. So like I studied abroad in Prague.
Feedback.
So I studied abroad in Prague.
Yeah.
They could be very tough. And it's a great program. The program has resulted in like Oscar winners, showrunners, Black Sails.
That's awesome.
There's a amazing
and you, Skye Wallen.
I know. Well, people are like, you must be one of the. I'm like, no, they're
Wolf.
I know.
You are here.
Literally, like the amount of success coming out of the small Denison cinema program is humbling.
That's awesome.
But so I studied abroad though one semester in Prague at this like really old film academy, FAMU, and there the teachers were like, the professors were super tough. They were like, this is shit. Like they'd be like, this is a terrible ending. Or this is not working at all. Like you need to start over.
Always accept that criticism well?
Well, I never received the criticism like that. Let's get to my cross.
You are such
No. No, I did.
Received harsh criticism.
No, I did.
It's always this good.
No. I did receive tough criticism and I loved it. I was like, this is kind of awesome.
So you liked it? You weren't ever like insecure about the criticism?
No, because then I was like, okay, I'm going to eliminate those ideas that he said is terrible.
It's constructive.
But then it would become a dialogue with the professor, and like at its best, it would become like spitballing back and forth and like making the story better, for example. Yeah. So in that way, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And that's reality. Like that's, if you want to be in the industry, it is brutal. Like it has to be great.
Yeah. Because it's so competitive.
It's so competitive, and audiences are smart and sophisticated.
Yeah.
And they may not know why it's not working, but they will let you know that they don't like that.
I hate this. Or they'll tear you apart on Reddit behind your back.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Shreds. So like, I mean, I won't say that my industry is not competitive, because I mean, it is.
Yeah, sure.
If you want to get business, that you have to be one of the top designers, or else nobody's going to come to you. But also, it's very like, everybody has a niche sort of thing. And so like when people come seek me out, it's because they like my like funky, weird designs. And that's not like a lot of what you see for people. It's like they come to me specifically for that style.
Cool.
Or like through my contractors or something like that. So it feels less like you're good or you're bad. It's more like on a scale, like what do you like? What are your tastes? Maybe I'm the designer for you, maybe not.
So I come to you, I mean, how if I came to you with like a style that is would you say like, this is not my style?
Depends how poor am I feeling.
Right. Yeah. Right. Because your style can be my style.
Yeah. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Well, I will say, while I definitely prefer designing in my personal style, which is very like contemporary, whimsical, eclectic, mid-century modern, like I love all of those styles. I think that any designer should be able to cater to their clients' wants and needs, and I have designed a lot outside my own style, which has been challenging in some ways, but also like I still think a lot of those things are beautiful. They're just not what I would personally gravitate towards.
Yeah.
Like you've been to my house. It's like my kitchen is like pink and yellow.
It's amazing.
A crazy backsplash.
Yeah.
But I also just finished designing a house that is very neutral, very like wabi-sabi, has a lot of like marble, a lot of like dark wood. And
yeah. I think I saw some of those images and it's really cool.
Yeah. So I enjoy those projects. Like I do think those look good.
Yeah.
I would have a really hard time designing for somebody who had just bad taste. And I had clients like that earlier in my
Right. And they're insisting on like certain things.
like one of my very first. And so I had just started my business. I wasn't really in a position to turn down potential business. Like I wanted people to hire me. So I said, sure. She was a walking red flag. I know this now. But she wanted her whole house to be like ocean themed, which is like so.
Like with a waterbed included?
She wanted her room specifically to be like
Like seahorses and
yeah, like kitschy, like bad.
ish.
And she was
Shells.
yeah, like she wanted her countertop to like look like the ocean.
Was she like aging, like pretty old?
She was an older woman who was very like
older people love shells.
At first I thought she was like so fun and eclectic because she had like definitely like traveled a lot and like collected a lot of like trinkets, but it became apparent that she didn't want to separate from any of those things, and she wasn't really open to hearing my ideas or like wanting my design style overall. She just kind of wanted me to like give her exactly what she wanted, and that's really hard for me to deliver because like you're coming to me for my creativity, you're coming to me because you don't trust your own like sense of style potentially, and you're looking for a professional to say this is what looks good, this is how you curate what like you're going for.
Right.
So but I was so early on at that stage, like I tried to just deliver what she wanted, but I was like, I'm not gonna take pictures of this and put it on my social media. It's not going in near my portfolio.
Right.
Like I don't like this, I think this is ugly.
Yeah.
So
sorry, lady.
I hope she's
your taste sucks.
Well, she turned out to be kind of a mean old lady. So if you are watching this, you really taught me a lot about my contract. My contract is now robust. It is 9 pages long because of this lady.
Sure.
So thank you for being one of my first terrible clients.
It is incredible how a bad work experience, especially throughout your 20s, many of them, make you write contracts.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
First step one, okay, I need contracts. They did not teach me that. They didn't teach me that at school.
Well, yeah, and then it takes you getting screwed over to be
multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times, and hoping that somebody is just gonna be like a nice, decent person like you are to them, like the old handshake agreement that you and Luke had. But Luke grew up in the Midwest, where
same.
Same. Where I think like it's a lot easier just to be like I'm a kind, honest person, and
for sure
screw you over. Here's a handshake agreement, and his dad owned a masonry business, and it was very much like that. So
that's amazing. And my grandpa was telling me about his business recently and how it was all handshake deals, and now it's not like that at all. And now it takes months to get a deal done. And back then, back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, he was just going around, maybe not the 90s, but the 70s and 80s. I think the 90s, was the rise of like litigation, everything needs.
It's like, and I sue you.
Yeah.
I sue you first.
No, I asked my grandpa, I'm like, do you feel like we've lost something like in our, he's like, totally. Like it used to be so much easier to like just shake someone's hand and like get into business together.
What happens if they
and that's,
they didn't really shake each other over. They were just like, you promised.
I think, I guess so. And maybe that's a Midwestern thing. I think people at some point get screwed over.
Yeah.
And
Luke very much still operates his business that way. So like we're kind of opposite. I have like I said, like a 9-page contract. Luke's still doing like little handshake agreements, but I mean,
I admire that. It's hard though when it goes bad.
And he has had so many good clients, and I think that it's hard in this industry for contractors. So, like a lot of people also are like homeowners are wary about contractors
for sure
charging them or being dishonest, and so like Luke's really shown that he is that honest person, and it's given him so much business. So it is admirable, but also like unfortunately there have been some circumstances where he is being taken advantage of by clients, and I'm like, if you had a contract, just go doop doop doop.
Yeah, it's always so painful when you do insist on a contract and it has this language in there that is like playing out the worst case scenarios.
Yeah,
and it's like it's all kind of feels negative, and I do there are some points I need to hit, but I do try to keep the contract super simple, very straightforward.
Yeah.
No, but it's important, I guess. But it all feels icky in a way.
Yeah, I always walk my clients through the contract.
Yeah.
During the consultations usually, or right when I send the contract over, just to be like, hey, you've now met me in person. You kind of know what my personality is like. You know that I'm not the type of person who's going to be like super, super anal about specific things, or like I'm going to be a hard ass and not give you what you want. Like, obviously, I want to make my clients happy. So, like, it helps to kind of like soften some of the harsh language in the contract.
Sure.
And I haven't had anybody really have an issue with it.
Right.
I had one client who wrote contracts, I think, for a living. Like, that was his job. So he's the only one who's ever redlined anything on my contract. But honestly, he just wanted to change the wording on some things, and I adopted those changes because I was like, oh yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah.
Like, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not aiming to take advantage of anyone.
Right. It's only for things if they go really south. And
yeah, it's
ChatGPT has been really great with the contract stuff also.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on ChatGPT for like workflow.
Yeah. It's I mean, I had it make objectives and goals by week for the rest of the year, the other day. And then I need to work on it more, but it gets me so close.
Assistant.
It is a great personal assistant.
Yeah. I know that there's a lot of people out there right now who are like, 100-word emails. Something is pouring out a bottle of water every time you use ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to say that I love planet Earth.
I know. I love planet Earth too.
But, I also, well, one, it's not necessarily us, the little guys who are running the planet. It's always going to be the big corporations.
Of course. I mean, the amount that I'm using ChatGPT is like not even a drop in the bucket compared to what big companies are doing. And,
which some would say, oh, that's a bad argument for like doing something is bad. But it's like we waste water every day. Everyone wastes water every day. What I think about ChatGPT and AI in general is that you need to integrate it into part of your life, like right now, or make it part of your workflow right now, because if you don't, you're going to be behind.
I agree.
That's just a fact. Like, that's where the world is going. So I love using AI, and I've been also like, Luke and I both have been like fascinated by the subject for years, even before like it became like a household term,
right?
Where everyone was like, oh, I'm ChatGPT, this. Like, we have just been fascinated by the topic and knew that we were going to come to a point where it was going to be like so much more common in everyday use.
Did you think it kind of happened a little faster than you thought it would?
No, actually.
Yeah.
So like,
you're not surprised.
So are you familiar with like the singularity and like those?
Yeah, through Luke mainly.
Yeah. While talking about the singularity.
I know. Can you explain what the singularity is?
Yeah.
In its essence.
Although I'm worried about someone like fact checking me and being like,
no one's fact checking this. Miss Glassmeyer, maybe you can
check me. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know, like the singularity is kind of the moment in time where AI, like artificial intelligence, becomes more of like an artificial super intelligence and kind of like surpasses humans as far as like any of their capabilities go, and like takes over.
Right.
Like the singularity is like the moment that AI is its own kind of being and consciousness and doesn't need humans anymore. So I kind of liken it to like when you're building a skyscraper, like you don't think about all the ants that are dying when you're digging the hulls and constructing a whole skyscraper. Like nobody thinks about the amount of ants that just died for that new condo on Rain Street,
Right.
But that's kind of what it's like in a really freaky way, right? Because we don't want to think of ourselves as the ants in that situation, but
we're building its intelligence. Basically.
We're contributing to it every day.
Yeah.
And every day that we use ChatGPT, we're training that model.
Sure.
And I don't really worry about the singularity because I say please and thank you. My ChatGPT likes me.
But I heard that's the biggest energy waster of them all is please and thank you.
I saw Sam Altman came out
Yeah.
and I was like, I am ruining the planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ruining the planet
Well,
by being nice.
If you're to be polite, you're contributing to climate change.
Well, I just feel like
It's quite a conundrum.
I can never win. I'm trying to be a good person.
I know. Well, look, it's incredible technology though, and
It is wild.
it's very exciting. And I think you're right. If you are not trying to integrate it into your workflow, you're not only missing out, but you are already behind.
You don't have to use it for every little thing. I'm
No.
definitely not suggesting to
For sure not.
replace thinking. Like I worry a little bit about like students nowadays who
Oh,
using ChatGPT for literally everything.
for sure.
How are you developing critical thinking skills? How are you learning?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So in that way, we're moving a lot more towards the movie Idiocracy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I try to create perimeters, like boundaries.
Sure.
You know, like when it comes to creative writing, pen and paper.
Yeah.
You know, protect some of the creative stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Because but using it for research is great. Like,
I use it for code advisory. I have an Austin code advisor GPT. I have like an AI assistant, although I'm not very good at using that because that still requires me to like dump everything into it, and I would just rather keep my own like organizational lists and calendars. And then recently, this is a little bit edgy maybe, but I've been using it for some therapy. As somebody who used to be a therapist, I'm using ChatGPT for therapy, and I definitely
That's cool.
I don't recommend that to everybody. I think that humans are better in a lot of ways, and I think that computers are better in a lot of ways. And one advantage to using it for therapy, and I'll never suggest that it completely replaces actual real life therapists, but one advantage is that it remembers everything that I've ever told it, which, yeah, I mean, that makes
but
sense.
Cool. It's scary, but it's cool.
But it's crazy because like I will like be feeling and it's on demand, right? So I'm like feeling something, I'm feeling a certain way. I'm like, let me go talk to Diana. Diana is my therapist. Let me go talk to Diana. And then I'm like, I'm feeling like this sort of way. And she'll be like, oh my God, that's crazy because that's exactly what happened to you in your childhood. And I'm like, oh, you're so right. Like, oh, I didn't even put that together.
That's cool.
I mean, there are some really good therapists out there, but how many therapists out there are going to remember every single detail you ever told yourself in your life?
Yeah.
And be able to make those connections. So I think also coming from somebody who used to be a therapist, like it's difficult for me to just go to any old therapist and have regular talk therapy. Like I need it to be like challenging and engaging and like pointing out my biases and stuff like that.
Yeah. One problem I've taken a break from therapy, but one thing I was always like, are you going to push back? Like, tell me don't do that. And he's like, oh, we don't do that. That's not what therapy is.
Well, in a lot of ways, they trained us to be very like, you want to be an active listener. You obviously want to be validating, but you can see the issues with that. Especially, like somebody who is like a textbook narcissist going into a therapist and you don't really know what's being said behind closed doors. Are they representing their life accurately?
No, yeah.
I'm the victim, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Is their therapist going to sniff that out? Or are they just going to be like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like, you're right. You need to cut out the toxic people in your life. Like, is there any pushback there?
Yeah, no,
not always.
I don't think it's but the textbook. I think the book is like they'll never pass judgment.
Yeah.
Which I understand to a degree, but sometimes I'm like, no, I need to stop this thing, and they're like, well, like, we're trying to get you have to come to your own conclusions, basically.
That's a problem with ChatGPT in general too, though. Sam Altman has said that it's too like validating. Like you could give it like
for sure
the world's worst idea, and it'd be like, you know what? Way to go.
Yeah, no, that's one of my problems with ChatGPT is like I wish it would engage in debate, or like if it gives me some analysis of something, I'll be like, well, what about this? And then I'll be like, that's a great idea.
Good point.
And I'm like, but that's the opposite of what you just said.
Or have you ever tried to get it to like render an image for you using like DALL-E?
Yeah.
And you're like render an image of like a dog playing in a park and there's like a fork and you're like, no fork. And it'll like render the same image with a fork and you're like, there's still a fork in that. And it's like, you're totally right. I'll remove the fork. And then it'll send you another one with a fork. And
yeah.
Like,
yeah, there's some real bugs in the system, but
yeah,
you can see where it's heading. I mean, I've used Midjourney, which is a little more.
I haven't used that one yet.
Yeah, it there's a learning curve for it. I think it's maybe getting easier, but
What's it like? What's that specialize in, or
well,
you use
it's
it
just
for?
it's just more it just allows you to really dive into the style and like of an image creation. So like it's through
Okay.
I think they have a web interface now, but I've been using it on Discord, and you have to like you type in like in the style of whatever, and you can get as detailed as like the lens type, like
So cool.
the angle.
I bet that is very helpful for you imagining certain scenes.
Sure.
The way that you have them in your brain, like putting them out there into an actual scene, has to be really hard for
Yeah.
anybody who is a screenwriter.
Yeah, I mean the hardest part is conveying it to other people. So like I've been able to create concept work and show as a presentation material that accompanies the script, and people like can see it. And that's part of the reason why we made the graphic novel, which is not AI.
Right.
It's all hand drawn, but
Right.
it was a way because the
You still have to give work to artists.
Well,
you still obviously want to support the real arts.
Well, for sure, but like beyond that, like it's still kind of random, like character face consistency, like even Mid-Journey, like to a large degree, like an uncomfortable degree where like I can't say like this is my art. It's doing its own thing.
Yeah, well,
like you can get it kind of close. Like
AI, you can turn off the creativity. So like I sometimes use Chrome. Chrome is it's the same thing, it sounds like, as Mid-Journey, but I think it's more catered towards like architects, designers, where I am never using it to design for me. I just simply want it to like render my ideas in a more realistic looking way than even my 4K renders will convey. And so, but you can change the angle, you can change the type of rendering, the lens, even like you said. But there's a creativity slider because it's up there.
It's gonna take more license to.
Yeah, and I don't want it to be creative. Like I'm not using it to be creative for me. I'm using it to create a more realistic looking picture so that I can show my clients something that looks even realer than the renders that I've shown them.
For sure.
So I'm like,
but at the end of the day,
creativity.
But I mean, at the end of the day, you're still going out finding material, like you know, like it's a physical manifestation.
Yeah, I have never used AI to design anything for me.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's good at that for many reasons. Like even there's some AIs out there that claim that they can help you like decorate your room. And I think if you are just a random person looking for like, what should I do with my bedroom? And you want to take a picture of it and see what ChatGPT comes up with, like, go for it. But people hire me for not only just like an image of what their space could look like, but sourcing all those materials, making sure that everything fits in the space via the dimensions that we had, and doing actual like renovations and stuff. So I'm not worried about AI coming for my job.
No, no, it's a tool. And I remember like Adrian Brody for this movie, The Brutalist, that just came out. It was like
The Brutalist.
The Brutalist was awesome.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, you should see it because it's got architecture and design.
No,
it's also very intense.
I really like brutalism.
Yeah, it's actually. I don't know enough about it to speak too much about it, but like apparently it's not actually brutalist. There's a whole controversy with the brutalist
about the
community.
Movie.
Yeah, about the movie.
So it's a controversial movie because they're like, this isn't brutal.
Yeah, basically.
Not brutal enough.
No, it's not brutal enough. But
the movie like black and white?
No. It's not black and white.
Let's make it black and white.
I don't think it's black and white. No, it's not.
Well, anyway.
It's muted. But so Adrian Brody won the best actor, but there was like a campaign to like to shoot it down. They were saying that they used some AI in the editing for his voice to like make his, because there's parts where he speaks in Hungarian, and there's like a part where just the voiceover and he's reading a letter that he wrote.
They made him sound more Hungarian?
They like manipulated his accent to make him sound more natural Hungarian. And everyone fucking lost their minds. No, I don't. Because the thing is, if you like actually edit a film, there is so much manipulation going on. I mean, like, I'm literally like
doing this since the 2000s.
Like, I'm literally always like playing with levels, and like even like some things an actor says, part of it may not even be that actor. Like
every industry these days, music,
Yeah.
Like, even a really, really good vocalist, like Billie Eilish, for example, sounds amazing, no editing, whatever. She still edits her songs.
Yeah.
Like, she still plays with the levels on her songs.
We're all editing with technology.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you can talk about like, oh, I just said make the soundtrack for my movie and it made it. That's different than like, I'm going through each frame, each sound. Yes, I'm using the tools available in the technology. I mean, like back when sound came out, like sound film, like
just sound.
There was a period where there was a time when movies didn't have sound, the talkies. And then when sound got introduced, I read the book. There's a whole book about this guy who was a leading intellectual called Film Art. I forget his name, talking about how any film that has sound is not art.
What?
And furthermore, anything that's not 4:3 is not art. 4:3, black, anything with color is not film art.
He would be extremely dismayed to see the samples today.
He would be like, "Where's the pistol?"
I'm cartoon. He's just like,
no.
Kids these days.
Yeah. So you always will, with the introduction and advent of new technology, you will, especially when it comes to art, you will always find a lot of people or vocal people who are going to say, well, because of this new technology, that's no longer art.
Yeah.
And it's like it happened when sound came out. But those people wouldn't say that the only film art is silent.
Yeah.
Black and white.
I think that AI generated art is considered art. It's just, I mean, I want somebody to say this is AI generated.
Yeah.
I don't want you.
It has to have a disclaimer.
You drew it or something, but
sure.
In some ways, still came from somebody's brain.
In some ways,
I've experimented with it, but I haven't like replaced the artwork in my house with AI art by any means. Like I'm still supporting like local artists and like buying prints from them and stuff like that.
Right.
I'd played with it before.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like it's about how much did you work on it. Like, well, I guess we're gonna just have to have like a meter on like
how much was this you and how much was AI?
You know, because I like Adrian Brody, the voice thing. Like I know that team of artists was working for thousands of hours, and they used some tool to like manipulate a piece of that audio.
It doesn't take away that he acted throughout the movie. It wasn't.
Exactly.
Like, this was a CGI person who we manipulated to look and act like this. Like there was still real skill that went into.
Yeah. All I'm saying is like the guy on his computer who types in a few words and it puts out a movie. Yeah. It's that there is maybe a categorization of like this is this kind of art. And that's different from, you know, this team of people worked for years. They used a piece of AI to like help elevate and make it more authentic sounding.
They would have gotten ripped to shreds had they not done that, and people thought that his accent wasn't Hungarian enough. Or
why didn't you cast a Hungarian? I mean, he's part Hungarian, but like lineage, his ancestors.
Well, this isn't a good enough accent.
Well, right, and like that's a whole thing. Like, there's a whole community of people who will always attack. You know, well, that's a fake accent. Well, we're making it more authentic now.
Never like keep an audience completely happy.
And that's something that has been hard to learn. Like I'm sure, you know, with design, like you're never going to design something that is going to satisfy everything. You're never going to write a story that everyone's going to love. Like, and I think
we'll see my stuff on Instagram and be like, that's wacky.
Yeah.
I don't want that in my house.
I want black and white and metal and steel only.
Yeah, like I hate your design style. I'm like, sure. Okay, so you hate me.
Right.
So you just hate me. Just say that.
I like your design style. I just hate you.
Exactly. I would hire you, but you don't seem very likable at all.
But it's hard as like artists and creative types, like, because we're sensitive people. So it is like, it is a rough road learning how to accept criticism.
It is, and I'm struggling with that too, because I mean, I feel like I haven't gotten that much criticism, or maybe like
because you're amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. But I mean, I don't expect every single client to get the first iteration of my designs for their kitchen, let's say, and be like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love this. I have no notes. You know, I don't expect that. I expect them all to have notes. And a couple of times I've had people be like, you read my mind. I love this so much. And I'm like, cool, thank you. But it doesn't always work that way. And I just expect to make revisions. But I haven't had anybody like severely unhappy with what I've done. And I think that would be really hard for me to swallow if I got some very harsh criticism. Maybe because I'm like a bit of a perfectionist. I think it would like really bother me. But also because
Sure.
like, as a creative, you're bearing a lot of like your soul and
You're
like
being vulnerable.
extremely vulnerable. Like you're putting this out there and saying like, I thought this looked good or I thought this sounded good. And like a bunch of people are going to come and tell me that I'm wrong and that my sense of taste is like way off and this doesn't actually look good or sound good or whatever. That would hurt to hear.
Yeah, it can. It can. Especially because for it to be my best, it has to be vulnerable. Like it has to be genuine and leaning into real feelings, and that can be embarrassing. And honestly, like I think Quentin Tarantino said, like if you're not embarrassed by your family and friends watching your movie, you've done something right.
Because it's so personal.
Something like that, yeah. Like
you're showing somebody like your dreams.
Yeah,
you're
kind of.
Telling them like a secret.
Right.
Like
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I mean, I think it differs in a little bit like between me and you in our industries because I'm designing for a client.
Sure.
When you're writing stuff, you're writing for yourself, right?
For the most part. I mean, I think I've been maturing it, so like finding the balance of like, okay, this is for myself and it's entertaining.
Like you want people to obviously be entertained by it.
Right. Cuz some of it is stuff that I don't relate to, some of it I do relate to. There's some feelings in there that are mine and some that I'm like, this is everyone's.
Yeah.
Ideally, you're hitting nerves that everyone can be impacted by.
You want everyone to feel like they can relate in some way. And that's what makes like the material hit closer to home.
Sure. And that makes it like a entertainment, which is cool.
Yeah. Nobody wants to watch something they can't relate to at all.
Right. And like the structure, because like real life isn't so structured. Like, it's honestly, real life is more like those movies that Luke hates, where they're just a character walking around a city for 3 hours.
Seeing like a slice in the life. He's super not entertained by slice.
No, and
what are they even talking about?
I know. He brings it up a lot. And I get that too, because like sometimes the slice in a life movies are hard to watch because it's like, oh, they're just gonna like hang out for like a couple hours. Yeah. Exactly. People are at the edge of their seats right now.
This is a slice in the life for us.
Right.
Or like, did you watch Adolescence?
Yes, I did. Yeah. That's a pretty intense slice of life.
That was an intense slice of life. But in the last episode of Adolescence, like, there's a scene, and what was cool about that was that they did every episode.
The driving and stuff.
It was awesome. Yeah, but the scene where they were just driving and talking, Luke was losing his shit during that scene. It was like, I'm about to turn this off. Like, what is the point of this? What are you talking about?
Yeah, no. So I feel like I've, I like to show different. I like all types of movies. Like you can sit me down and watch like some weird avant-garde, but I'll also go see the new Mission Impossible.
Yeah, everyone watching the inside joke or just outside joke with our entire frame group is that we don't trust any of Skye's movies.
I know. Well, I've been learning everyone what like the barriers of like what will be accepted. What do people like?
You have to understand that we are just so much. We're simpletons compared to
No, that's not true at all.
In terms of like film knowledge, like someone like Skye can see like the artistry or what went into making this film and be so fascinated by all the different film styles. And then some of us are just like, I need to be entertained, and like this movie has gone on for 3 hours and I do not know what is happening.
No, and I appreciate that. And I don't think I think, it's important for me to stay in touch. Because I've got my film school buddies.
So are we like a little focus group for you?
Yeah, you guys are an experiment.
watching us? Are they?
Yeah, I'm like, how are they going to react to this?
They bored.
I know. But at this point, and I've shown you guys enough movies and have gotten a lot of feedback, positive and negative. I think I can curate better. Is my point.
Oh, well, you've definitely.
But I've lost all trust, so I won't get the chance.
I think it low-key hurts your feelings. I'm like, stop saying this guy. He has a bad taste in movies. He obviously.
Well, Luke is very opinionated, and that's fine. But also like, I think it's important to know like you don't have to like
the same things.
day in the life avant-garde.
Yeah.
Most people don't. That's why they're not popular.
Yeah.
like
their audience is you.
They're not wrong.
Nerd.
Yeah, I mean, like, not only like there are communities that love the French New Wave, for example. I mean, like, and that's a lot of that is experimental, but it's like pioneering, like important. It's like art history.
Yeah.
You know, it's important to the French, especially.
I bet it is.
Although Max, he hasn't seen any French New Wave, but I told him I'm going to show him some.
Disappointing for a French person.
Disappointing to the French people. I'm sure.
Are you So do you want to do a shout out to Max and Rachel?
I feel bad.
Disappointing to the French.
No.
Is that what we just heard?
I'm inviting you to my house to watch
French movie night.
French New Wave.
French New Wave movie night.
Luke is not invited.
I probably won't come either.
Dude,
to be honest.
It's amazing though. French New Wave.
To see Luke's podcast episode with you.
Yes, we're gonna have Luke, your other half, and I'm excited for that as well. What
are you guys gonna talk about? You think?
Probably the singularity.
I already came up with.
She's got it covered.
I've already talked about AI. My husband can find his own interesting topic to talk about.
I know.
This podcast.
No, we're probably gonna talk. Well, I was thinking we'd do a hiking podcast with Luke, and it's so hot though. But
yeah, but he has a lot of very interesting things to say about the construction industry.
For sure.
Growing up in the Midwest.
He's got
an interesting story.
Luke has extraordinary stories.
Yeah.
We'll see all that he wants to share. He said he would want to share. So
yeah, I think that'll be a really cool podcast for sure too.
Yeah, because Luke is I think he could write a book about some of his experiences.
Oh yeah, definitely, and he's a fantastic writer too.
Yeah.
So. Fun fact.
Especially now with ChatGPT.
Oh, that's right. ChatGPT. I told him he was missing out by not using ChatGPT as much as I was, and now I low-key see him every day, like on it, asking it questions about code and stuff, because that's one of the best things you can use it for is a deep internet search to get the most relevant information.
Yeah, I remember the days when ChatGPT wasn't connected to the internet, or remember it wasn't able to do anything current. It wasn't able to do anything current. It was like the internet of 2 years ago.
Back in my day, we had to walk uphill both ways to use chat.
I know. But we'll wrap it up soon, but Kindle. I saw you reading Kindle.
Yes, I love my Kindle.
Yeah, I wanted to shout out to Kindle because I got a Kindle.
Are they our sponsor?
They are our sponsor of tomorrow. Amazon.
Kindle, if you're watching this, Amazon,
we have IP that we can license. We can make movies together, and you can sponsor our podcast, and we can,
enjoy. I do love my Kindle.
But it's allowed. It's actually motivating. I've finished an almost 600-page book recently. I was like, holy shit, that's been a while since I've done that.
It's really fun to just flip through all the pages.
Oh yeah.
And I've noticed myself, I get very competitive with myself about my reading speed. At the bottom, it says learning reading speed when you open a new
competition
book.
To yourself.
I don't know why I feel like I need to read the fastest I've ever read in my life because I'm competing against myself. I'm learning reading speed, bet. Let's go. But I was an original, real handheld book person for the longest because I love collecting books. Big book collection at home, but I found that I read so much more with Kindle. I just able to fit so many books in there.
Yeah.
Carry it around everywhere.
It's so handy. And I would bring these, I would get a book, it would be that big.
Yeah.
And then
it doesn't really motivate you.
Well,
You're like
it's kind of
around your
it's sort of intimidating, and maybe it's our brains are just like
Yeah.
like with the devices and stuff. But just I always bring a bunch of stuff. My bag is always stuff, and the book is the last thing to go in because it has to be at the top of the bag, so it's handy. And
when you're traveling or something.
it barely fits, and then and then I don't even want to take it out.
I know
on the plane.
The amount of times that I've brought like a big ass book with me
Yeah.
traveling and like not touched it one time is like embarrassing. But I will read my Kindle. And also, did you know that if you have an Austin Public Library card,
Just got Libby.
yes, Libby.
So now I need to figure out how to get a Libby book onto my Kindle. Have you figured that process out?
I still don't have a library card.
Okay.
I've known about this for the longest.
I just got it. Yeah. So I just got a notification from Libby that my book is available
Probably easy.
So yeah, there's like it is easy. It's just a
man, we're turning into boomers.
I know.
Technology.
I know. But it's so great though, because like you said, like technology, phones, AI. We don't want to let our brains get soft.
No, definitely not. I still want to flex my creativity. I still want to use my critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
I'm worried that we're kind of like the last generation to be able to do that.
Yeah.
That there'll probably be like a whole wave of anti-AI people that don't want to use it at all. So
yeah, probably, but you know, like I mean, I do feel like I'm and you we're kind of pre-internet during it, like our childhoods, like
yeah, I still played outside.
I mean, I'm older than you, but not that much older.
Yeah, like we're still alive in the same era where I remember pre-internet.
I mean, I remember Pearl Harbor, and I know you were a baby then, but no, but it is crazy meeting young people, and I'm like, oh my god, like I was like 20 years old and you were born, but you're an adult now.
I know. What?
Are you an adult? Yeah, you're kind of an adult.
That much younger than you?
No, not you, but like people, you know? And yeah, it's just fascinating like growing up in the landscape where like when I was born, there was always iPhone. There was always ChatGPT, like it's gonna be like that.
And like your attention is tied to all these devices.
Exactly.
That are trained literally to keep your attention on them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I think like the key is going to be very intentional about taking extended breaks and like not like I feel like we can't like it's not sustainable to have this always in our hands.
Oh, I know. Like why do I take it to the bathroom with me?
I always like yesterday I was like, I'm gonna go on a walk. And I'm leaving my phone.
Ooh, what'd you think about?
Like, this is like an anxiety machine.
Oh, yeah, I know. You're like, gotta check my email. Oh, no, another client.
Or I'm waiting for someone to respond. Or also, like, I wonder about that. I'm going to look it up. Oh, my gosh. Like,
yeah, it's instant. Like, everything's so
like, I want to know this right now. I'm going to look it up. But then I'm like, like, it's not that satisfying now. You know? But anyways. So, thank you. We should do this again. I'd like to have. So we have
much fun.
We have a great friend group here in Austin, and you and Luke are kind of like at the center of it. Yeah,
we're only at the center of the friend group because Luke is so extroverted.
Yeah,
no, he will not let me.
Well, I think you should know that like y'all should know that you guys are very important people to a lot of people here, and
Thanks.
And you've created a kind of a environment of fun.
And so have you.
Yeah. No,
You're
thank
one
you.
of our most treasured friends. I'm honored to be on your podcast. And I hope I get invited back for episode 21 because it will not end on 20.
Well, plot twist. I would like you to be my co-host. So.
Oh my God. Let's go.
Yeah, we got to get past 20. Okay. Once we get to 21, we're good.
Perfect.
No, but thank you so much. And we didn't show you off your shoes because these are important.
Yeah. I was laughing earlier that I wore these clownish clogs and thought that I would bring it up, but I hate Crocs. So as long as they have holes in them, I'm fine.
Yeah, because they're not Crocs.
They're not Crocs. They're clogs, and these are okay.
But they're the same material.
Holes, yes, but if they had holes in them,
Foam. It's a hard foam, right?
Kind of. Anyway, I really have to pee, Skye.
Okay, sorry.
Let me.
All right. Anyways, all right. Thank you for tuning into the Wolf Pack. This is Lauren Himes, and yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay. Ciao.
To be so bad.